Hey guys, welcome to the Men's Forum.
Your guide to being a better man.
Here we talk about everything to do with dealing with the nuances of life as a man.
This is your safe space to finding solutions to any challenges that you could be facing as a man.
We're your hosts, Rajveer and Shalene, and today we're going to be talking about failures. Dun dun dun.
It's a very touchy topic for a lot of men out there. It's a big stigma around the society, especially when we come from Indian communities where it is not embraced as a good thing. I think
Men can't admit their failures
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I would never be able to tell my parents probably 20 years ago or 15 years ago that I'm a failure. There was always that notion that my kid has to be top 3, my kid has to be the best. Doesn't matter, boy, become engineer, and become doctor. So, I mean, there was always that pressure of not failing, and they would never understand.
The pressures of being an Indian in academics, I think, is the worst way of conditioning us to what failure actually means.
True. I mean, I have experienced that. Maybe. Okay, I've not experienced this. I was always top 3 in school, but even though I would come like second, my mom would be like, look, this girl first. Yo, what you doing? So
where did those 2 marks go?
Yeah, where did the 2 marks go?
Why
and I'm
not
like,
100%?
But I think that is how they were raised as well, in terms of their parents always push them to be first. And that was the notion that if you're first, you're the best. Doesn't matter if you're second, third, or fourth, or actually giving your best. You know, you may not be a intellect child, or you may not grasp things when you're young to be the best, to be top 10, but if you gave in your best, that is what they should appreciate. And that's when your brain starts opening up like, hey, failure is not rock bottom.
You know, when I understood exactly what you're saying, that failure is not rock bottom, is when I started uni. I studied medicine. A doctor walked into the class and he said, you know, a doctor who gets 85% is still called a doctor. A doctor who gets 50% is still called a doctor.
True.
Unfortunately for you guys, someone who gets 49% is not a doctor. So that really changed my perspective on like what failure means.
True, I definitely agree with that. And so I've done a part of HR in my work experience, and I will never look at your marks. I will never ask for your marks. You know, I will never ask if you're first in school, if you're second in school. I'm just going to actually look at your qualifications, despite you clearing engineering or you clearing, being a sales and marketing chap. Doesn't matter if you got 49% and that is the pass mark, and you still have your degree. That is what matters. And number 2 is experience. So this people setting levels of failure is what we've accepted and what we keep embracing. It's something that we all need to change, because the way you say it, a doctor is still a doctor despite him getting 85% or probably getting 95%. Something I embrace and I practice is failure is important. I think failure
is very important.
It is important. I have hit rock bottom and I've come out 10 times stronger, learning from all those experiences.
And reason you hit rock bottom is because you mentally accepted that you quote unquote failed.
Yeah. So I mean, even in school, not school itself. In school I was a bright kid apart from the last year.
Look at this guy. He's always just saying, I was a bright kid. Yeah. Like, hey, I was a bright kid too.
And that's what I'm saying was. Right now, probably my mindset is different. But in uni as well, yes, I have 3 degrees. Sadly, the last one I didn't manage to finish because it was difficult, and I sat for it twice and I didn't clear it. So
what was that?
That's my professional degree, right? And so my bachelor's I cleared, my financial modeling one I cleared, but this one was tough. It's a very hard degree. CFA is not a joke. Cleared my level 1. Then after that it was just tough, and then also I was going through things in my life and a mix of that. And and if I had cleared, I think it's one of my biggest regrets as well. Probably that failure has defined me today, maybe to be a better man or to probably my life would have been different if I'd cleared my CFA. But all in all, I think I'm happy despite all of it. I mean, I've learned so much out of it, and my experiences have been great.
Damn, man, I'm sorry, dude. But it's really bold of you to, take that failure and say, yeah, that is something that I failed in, and embracing it and actually saying it out loud. So respect to that, dude.
Thank you.
And I think it is very important for everyone to look at You see, there's two ways you can look at it. You can look at it as, I failed, now I'm a loser. Or like how you keep saying, I failed and it has made me a better person. So for me, one of my biggest regrets is, I think I failed in my last relationship. And, it's something that weighs on you. Again, because of this whole conditioning, you there's certain standards that you feel like you need to meet and you don't meet them, and then that's when you call yourself a failure. So yeah, despite intellectually knowing that, I failed and I've learned from it, it's still something that can weigh on you as a man. But being able to embrace it and saying, okay, yeah, okay, fine, it feels like shit that I failed, but despite that, it's great that I've learned all these things. So now I can do better next time. I'm sure there are a couple of things when you look back at your CFA and you look back at your life now, you're like, okay, maybe if I did continue doing CFA, I would not have got XYZ, or I would have not learned XYZ. Or weirdly enough, there's these failures that weigh on you. You start approaching circumstances in a different way so that you don't quote unquote fail again. And you approach them hopefully in a much better way than you would before that failure occurred.
We don't make the same mistake twice, right? If you make the same mistake twice, you're stupid.
Yeah.
That means you didn't learn from the first time when you made a mistake. So same thing when life hits you hard in terms of failures, how are you approaching it? As you said, are you learning out of it? Are the teachings good? What is the moral of the story at that very particular moment of time? And also talk about your failures. You know why? It might not put someone in a pit next to you. So these are things that you need to also speak about, because yes, it's a journey of self-discovery. When you fail, you learn so much about yourself.
Or you learn so much about yourself. That's for sure. Yeah.
So that journey of self-discovery and that defining moment of who you are as a person, it just becomes more and more open that this is me as a person and this is what I need to do to make changes and not do it again.
So at that point, you kind of shouldn't be scared of a lot of people are scared of failure. And again, because you're told, you go to school, you're like, oh, you need to get these grades. And if you don't get these grades, you're going to fail and you're not going to proceed to the next class or whatever. And that scares you from failing. But when you live in the real world, when failure improves who you are as a person, given that you're learning from those failures, I think it's something that, you should seek to fail. I think of in high school, like I was very smart in sciences, and that's what led me to choose, going down the path of, going to study medicine and dentistry. But when I look back at it, I feel like studying sciences and being good at it came from the fear of, I need to keep passing. I need to make my parents happy, or I need to make my teachers happy. If I said, okay, you know what, academics, I can proceed to fail in them. I am a very creative person and I'm very business minded. I love business. I feel like I could have started exploring those passions way earlier in my life. So again, when you start seeking to fail, there's so many things that you're now more open to doing. An example could be, making friends. If you seek to fail and you don't know a stranger, if you're open-minded, you have that mindset of like, I don't care if I fail. That first sentence that you say, it could work or it can't work. So if you go and you say like, hey, hot day, isn't it? and the person responds like meh, then you know, okay, I'm not going to approach a stranger like this again. But and then of course the next time you're going to approach another stranger, you're going to say, hey, how's it going? And they're probably going to be more receptive to that, because you're open to failing that first time. You've learned it the second time around. Now you've learned a really valuable skill, which you can just go and keep making more and more friends. Same thing with business. A lot of people are afraid to start businesses because of that fear of failure. But I can start a business today, and it could be a business of selling apples. I fail in it, but there's so many lessons that I learned from it, that if I go and start a business of, I'm going to say photography, accounting, dealing with clients, customer care, I learned from my apples business, which failed. And now I'm going to apply that in my photography business. Now, all of a sudden, my photography business does well. But if I go into that mindset of like, oh, I failed last time, I can't start a business, and you're never going to start a business, and you're never going to succeed. And keep moving.
Yeah, keep moving, and be wise. Also, read about people's journeys, how they failed in very different situations and scenarios. I think the importance of taking advantage of the technology that is there right now. You get to learn so much about different people in different sectors, in different situations, maybe relationships, maybe marriages, maybe friendships, and they talk about the experiences on failures. And when you listen to all these things and you understand the value of their learnings or their wisdom, and you apply it in your life, it can take you far. I mean, we all have the fear of failure instilled in us. It's something that you cannot change.
But it's a pattern you can
control.
Break. Yeah.
You can control your fear of failure. But till today, I'm always fearing to fail. I'm always scared to fail as the man of the house. I'm always scared to fail as a husband. I'm always scared to fail as a friend. I'm always scared to fail as an employee. So that fear, in one way, is good, because it keeps you in check.
I think now that you say that, it is fear itself. I think failure and fear, they there's a huge link between them. And just the way you said that, you can be fearless, but also fearing mistakes fearing failure is what could drive you to. So there's two things. It could drive you to not take action, or it could drive you to take action and take better action. So when you live in that balance of using fear to motivate you to take better action, I think that's when it can be a very powerful force in your life.
What was that saying back in school that we'd hear? Fall down 7, get up 8. Something like that. We were taught in school, I think, when we were doing first aid, or training in first aid, and we used to be told, even though if you fall down 7, you get up back 8. And it's something that I've learned, that you can fall down 7 times, but you grow back stronger 8 more times.
Yeah.
So growth is growth is key.
So school actually taught you something about
apart from women. But
that's great, man. This kind of reminds me of the song "Eye of the Tiger."
But till today, I think even you've heard me saying this. I wear a heart of a Simba. I've told all my friends, my very close friends who are going through something in life, and if they need help, tell them I'm going to be that brother who wears a heart of a Simba.
Heart of a symbol.
Simba.
Oh, heart of a Simba. Simba is lion. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching today's episode. Go out there, be fearless, and grab life by the balls. Don't be afraid to go out there and fail, and use fear as a motivating factor. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below, or hit us up on our DMs. Charlene's DM is linked in our men's forums tab, so you can spam him. And with that, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Peace out.